So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are joining us from. We're so grateful to have our club members and guests here with us today. Please allow me to welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Richa.
Thanks a lot, DTM Susan, for such a warm and loving welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you, especially our distinguished Toastmaster Padma Kumar, who is joining us for the very first time, and we have a guest too. So most welcome all of you. I'm sure you must be wondering, why did I take such a topic like questions? So here we go. As a child, we have been taught to frame our answers from the questions. For example, who was Joe? Joe was a pretty girl with long hair and black eyes. What is a good question? As quoted by Albert Einstein, if I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on the solution, I would spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask. For once I know the proper question, I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. Questioning is a powerful tool, and a good question can also ignite your creativity. Essential characteristics of a question may be like a question should be relevant, it should be concise, it should not add on more things to it. That means it should have single dimension, and it should also stimulate learning. I'm sure there is a lot to learn in our Toastmasters also. Toastmasters organization is a non-profit global organization which was founded by Dr. R.C. Smedley. And we have various divisions, districts, and local clubs. Wheresoever you are, just explore on the website of toastmasters.org. You will be happy to know that we are everywhere. And if you don't find us, you are free to get in touch with one of us. We would love to help you with Toastmasters. The objective of Toastmasters is to enhance our communication skills and also our leadership traits, because each one of us is unique and has the potential to learn. I would like to have a special person on the virtual stage who is going to help us in monitoring time. So may I know who is the timer for the day? Please be there on the virtual stage. Who's going to help us in monitoring time today?
Madam Toastmaster, we do not in fact have one assigned today, but I'd like to ask from those that are present who might like to help us as timer today. Do we have any volunteers?
We just have one speaker and a table topic section where you will be actually doing the role. So who would like to take in this role just for today? Okay, thanks a lot. Oh, wow. We have Toastmaster Catherine. Thanks a lot for joining us. Most welcome. So please let us know the role and responsibilities as a timer. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Timothy. I will be taking note of our time for those prepared speeches. And when you are left with just 1 minute, I will be able to flag your green card at 1 minute, and 1.5 minutes, I'll flash the yellow card. By the time I flash the red card, you should be done with your speech for all the prepared speakers and table topic speakers. And after the meeting, I'll give a report. Thank you so much. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day, Richa.
I would appreciate Toastmaster Catherine if you can show us the cards as well, or how are you going to help us in monitoring time?
Sorry, I'll be flashing the cards using a phone. Just give me a few minutes. I'll be flashing it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Toastmaster Catherine. Now, as I just told you, in Toastmasters, we are there to enhance our communication skills as well. And I believe we understand how important is the vocabulary. So we have a grammarian for the day who is going to introduce the word for the day to enrich our vocabulary. Over to you, grammarian.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Welcome to everyone. As grammarian, I will be looking for just what, or listening for, usage that stands out, great turns of phrase, things of that nature. And I will also be looking out for the use of filler words and things of that nature. And I will also be giving our word of the day, which is scintillating. Scintillating, spelled S-C-I-N-T-I-L-L-A-T-I-N-G, scintillating. It is an adjective, and it means brilliantly lively, stimulating, or witty. And using it in a sentence in the context of Toastmasters, stories can make our speeches scintillating and riveting. Scintillating is the word of the day. I encourage you to use it as much as possible. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Jim, for being the grammarian for the day. So I would also appreciate if all of you show a thumbs up so that the people who have used the word of the day feel encouraged and are there to use the word as many as possible. The number of times should be more and more. Now, in every Toastmasters meeting, we actually have 3 segments. In the first segment, we have the prepared speeches, where the speakers are already aware that they are there to deliver a speech and they get time to prepare. The second is the most enthralling section of every Toastmasters meeting, because there the guest gets privileged to participate and be there on the floor. This is known as table topic section. It is speaking on the feet, or is also popularly known as the extempore section. The third is the most integral section, the reason why I am still there as a Toastmaster. And that is, we need to figure out how we performed, whether we were good or not so good. And even this section is also going to help you in figuring out the ways, how do we actually grow as a better person, better speaker, and a better leader. And this is known as the evaluation segment. Actually, there is one more segment, which I say it is like coffee segment or a networking segment. If it is a virtual meeting, we turn off the recording and then you can just have informal chit chat or just make friends and be informal. And if you are meeting physically, then you can actually enjoy with a cup of coffee in your hand. In today's Toastmaster meeting, we have just one speaker. But before I call on the virtual stage our speaker for the day, we have a diligent evaluator. So I would welcome Toastmaster R.K. Siva to tell us the speech objectives and the details. Over to you.
Thank you, TTM Richa. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Toastmasters, especially Toastmaster Ajila. She is going to deliver her level 4 speech from persuading influence pathway. The purpose of this speech is members should need to learn, develop a plan, and practice it and fulfill the plan with the team. Remember, going to deliver the first speech of this speech and tell the overview about the plan and the project. Timing is 2 to 3 minutes. Good luck, Toastmaster Ajila. I will present my report when the evaluation sessions come. With that, I give the control back to Toastmaster of the day, TTM Richa. Over to you.
Thank you, evaluator. Now, we are going to have the first speaker of the day. So let us welcome on the floor Toastmaster Ajila. The topic of her speech is Hackathon 2023. Hackathon 2023, Ajila, Hackathon 2023.
Thank you so much, TMOD Richa. Hackathon 2023. I recently conducted a hackathon in the beginning of the first quarter of this year. Now, what is a hackathon? Hackathon is basically to bring in innovation within the employees to come up with a new idea, which will either bring a new business or enhance the existing product of the company. So when I conducted a hackathon, what did I do? How did I prepare for the hackathon to make sure that I engage 4,500 people? So I had to sit down and prepare a detailed plan. So I have to make sure that I create enough bunch of awareness which reaches every single employee who are part of the organization, part of CTO India team, which I belong to. And then I prepared a lot of posters. I had a person who was completely dedicated only to take care of the posters, presentations, and anything with respect to communications. So I had a person in charge for that. So I sent every alternative day posters. I sent a teaser video. I also had a finale video of the entire event. Now, the next thing what I wanted to do is I have to make sure there's a leadership address which gets communicated so the people are really pumped up. They know what is the prize money. They also know what is in it for them and how do they get benefited by participating part of this particular hackathon. So that was also conducted and communicated, and post which I have to make sure that I also have a special calls with the judges. So I took up a person who will be helping me with the judges. So we had 7 set of judges, and the 7 set of judges were unique in their own fields. And how do we coordinate? How do we make sure that we get the correct judges and the availability for all the events? There'll be level 1, level 2, level 3. So level 1 will be a different set of judges, level 2, different set of judges, level 3, different set of judges, and the finale D-Day. So that was also taken care of. And then comes the most important part where I drive in the entire week. So the hackathon happens for 3 to 5 days, depends upon how the organization gives us time. If it's for 3 to 5 days, whatever it is, the employees will not be doing any of their routine tasks. The entire 3 days or 5 days, they will only be working on the new idea or the proposal that they want to work upon. So it's completely dedicated for that. So I had kept a 1-hour call before the hackathon starts to make sure that everyone are able to participate. Now, what is the need for a 1-hour call with the whole organization is, now I have an idea and my idea is good enough, but I need people to work on. So the minimum strength for an hackathon is for a team to be formed is 3 to 10 people. Now I know 3 people or I know 5 people, but I still need a developer. I still need a QA tester. So how do I reach out since I don't know them? So when I keep up this call, I'll just say, I have this idea, is anyone interested? And someone comes and joins, and then they form a team. Now, I don't have an idea, but I am good at developing and I'm ready to help them. So someone is good in a developer, says, I have these skills. Is anyone looking for a developer? Please let me know, I can join. So in that way, I filled different types of forms. People filled in different types of their ideas and the roles, and we're able to get them to the call and merge them and help them form a team. So different set of people helped me, and the D-Day came and it was a big success. People were happy and the plan went out with meticulous planning and it was a big success. Thanks, and back to the TMS.
Thanks a lot. It was good to know all the insights of hackathon. Thanks a lot. When I thought questions as the theme for the day, I did get in touch with few Toastmasters for better understanding of their views and their perspectives. Well, it was good to know that everybody gave me a different answer. So there was no duplicacy, and I get to learn so many things. Let me ask first. Let me see who would like to answer my question. If somebody asks you, what was the question that have been asked and have been registered in your mind till date? What will be your answer? Any question which you still remember and created an impact that it is still there in your mind today? Maybe during your childhood or maybe a few years back. Who would like to answer? Anyone? So let me tell you a story. Few years back, I was there as a teacher trainer for Excelsior American School. Now, one of the teacher asked me, how to handle the dumb children? I did acknowledge and appreciate her participation in the teacher's training program. And at the same time, I asked her, how do you define dumb? What do you mean by dumb actually? How do you segregate the children as dumb and intelligent? Because I personally believe that every child is unique. Each one of us has the potential to learn, and each one of us has the capability to grow more in life. But the problem is lack of mentorship. Do you all agree? If you do, give me a thumbs up quickly. Most of the time, the problem is lack of mentorship. In this rat race, nobody has the time to listen to the problem. Each one of us wants to have a picture clicked with the winners or the children who get the highest percentage. Nobody wants to even sit with the people who score lowest. Nobody even has the time to ask for the reasons why the child has not scored a good percentage. Maybe it is her academic exam, or maybe it was her interview or any other exam of her life. When was the last time that you sat with your children and asked them this question or some question related to the same? I'm sure none of you. Because each one of us is busy in their own lifestyle, or I would say rat race again. Because in the morning we get up after looking at the alarm and we just set for our workplace. In the evening we get tired, we hit the bed, and next day again we start the day. So each one of us has forgotten most of the important things in life. The most important thing in life is please give time to your closed ones. I mean the quality time. I'm not telling you to spend the whole day with them. I understand that each one of us has a lot more to do. There are so many other priorities in life that we have. But the most important is, what are you doing with this life? Are you actually spending quality time with your closed ones? Are you actually being empathetic to the children or to the people who really need you? I'm sure by now you must have witnessed the way the people have been helping you as your mentor, even in Toastmasters. There is someone or the other to take care. There is someone or the other to make you feel comfortable. There will be lots of people to tell you where did you go wrong, or this is one area what you could have done better. If you have not witnessed till now, I'm sure you will understand and get the essence of it in today's meeting. Today's youth or children, I often tag them as football. Do I know any answers? Why am I tagging them as football? If you want to speak, just give me a thumbs up or unmute yourself. You may unmute yourself and speak. What makes me tag them as football? Any answers? Okay. Yes, Toastmaster Jim.
You tag them as good boy because you see their potential. And by doing that, you sort of plant the seed in them to maybe rise to that occasion and to develop into that eventually.
Okay, thank you for your participation. It was nice to hear that for you, football is like going up, rising, flying high to reach greater heights. That's nice. The other perspective, okay, here we have the guest. Yes, Zainuddin, you may unmute yourself.
Okay. Good morning and good afternoon, good evening to all. Football is actually just a game with a ball with legs, but this is the most beautiful game in the world. Okay. Most beautiful. It has more stamina than it is most popular game in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was nice to hear you. So keep coming on the stage and keep participating. You will enjoy and enhance. Thank you. Yes, we have distinguished Toastmaster Padma Kumar. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think the younger generation gets kicked around a lot. They get headbutted around a lot, but they never lose shape. They are constantly focused on getting to the goal.
Wow, wow, wow. This has added on to my understanding also. Thank you. Thanks a lot. It was scintillating. Wow, I'm sure I don't know whether I'm right or not. I'm also a learner. Let us hear Toastmaster Shashidhar. Yes, unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think football is a nice comparison because kids, I mean, the youth are the football and the people who are playing the football, the footballer, they are the influencers, or we say influence on the youth. I mean, there is social media, there are teachers, parents, and the other people. They always, nobody is in sync. I mean, one says something, other says something. Football, I mean, the youth is moving in random direction, but they want to they want to reach the goal. But yeah, it is difficult. If you have a good footballer like Ronaldo, then they will reach the goal. So I mean, Ronaldo will be the mentor for that football who can help the youth to reach the goal. But if you have some newbie who is not experienced, but he always gives suggestions, always tries to influence the youth by giving random suggestions on advice, then the youth might not reach the goal.
Absolutely. Wonderful to have you. Thanks a lot. So many people participated and made this more interactive and engaging. Wonderful to hear your views. You all may lower your hands, the ones who have answered. Well, my understanding for football, why I tag children as football, especially youth, the reason is because I see them bouncing from one end to the other. They keep looking for right answer to their questions. They don't find anyone. Believe me, they knock the door of their parents, but they are busy minting money or somewhere else. They knock the door of their teachers. They are busy in completing their syllabi and making reports. They knock the door of their mentors, but sometimes they also say bye-bye. So please, if you don't have a mentor, find a mentor. If you're not able to choose a mentor for yourself, you must do that today itself, because that question will always remain as a question in your life and may trouble you later also. I don't want you to be like that. When I had an interaction with distinguished Toastmaster Suzanne, who is not only pretty, diligent, but is a charming lady also, I did ask her, any question which is still there in your mind? Her answer was, what do you want to be when you grow up? This is one question what has always been there in her mind. So if you want to know more, let us welcome on the stage Toastmaster, I should say distinguished Toastmaster Susan, who is also the table topic master for the day. So over to you, distinguished Toastmaster Susan.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Richa, and thank you for your kind words. Thinking back to the question, was I the only one that was asked that all the time? What do you want to be when you grow up? We all had that experience, right? So the question is, does that mean that as a child, we aren't really existing yet because we're only going to be something else later on? And I had decided that I was going to be a teacher when I was 4.5 years old and hadn't even been to school yet. I actually was running classrooms in my garage for this older student's audacity that I had. But I found that although I wanted to be a teacher, I have not taken that as my career move. Yet instead, I found that everything I learned, I taught to somebody, and Toastmasters gives me that wonderful opportunity. But I don't think that children should be thinking about what they want to be later, but who are you now? Start developing their character and what they're thinking about rather than the future that may or may not happen. So am I a failure because I didn't become a teacher? No, because I teach in many other aspects of it. But I have some thought-provoking questions, I hope, today. And the way I'm going to handle it is I'm going to ask the question, make you all be thinking about it, and then ask for volunteers, because that way everyone is trying to answer the question in their heads. So along the theme today about questions, I thought an appropriate question would be, why do little children ask 1,000,000 questions a day? Catherine, would you like to answer that one? You're smiling so big. I can't even wait for anybody else.
I'm so excited to answer that question because I'm coming out of that phase of 1,000,000 questions a day. I have been told, and it has been proven by scientists, that when children are about between the ages of 2 up until teenage, for some of them, they will always want to know the moral reason why. And that common question was always, why? Why? Why, mommy? Why? They always wanted to know why. And I can remember clearly that sound ringing in my ears all the time. Brush your teeth. Why? Dress up. Why? Wear lotion. Why? Let's skip time. Why? Eat your greens. Why? You know? So they always asked because they wanted to know the moral reason why. And at that age, the brain, the mind, and the body is forming habits. It's forming attachments. It is forming answers. Why do we chew our food several times? Why must we chew 36 times before we swallow? They want to know. They are inquisitive. They need a benchmark. They need a comparative reason. They need a narrative. They need to understand. They need to lean on something that will give them an answer to why they must do whatever they have to do. And I have noticed that once they know the moral reason why, it will be very easy for them to form, to behave, and to also conform. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you. And here I thought I was one of the only children that was so inquisitive to always ask, but why? My goodness. So going along that thought process of why, what's your why? What's your why? Shashu, did you want to answer that? Your hand is raised? No? Okay. What is your why? Yes, okay. Go for it. 1 to 2 minutes.
The question of why I assume that this is a question of why, what is the purpose of life? I can elaborate on this thing. In my life, my small life, I feel one of the things is happiness and sadness, both the things come in life. And when we have sadness, and it is due to some kind of pain. And those pains, I feel pain leads to purpose. That is what I have understood in my life. When you fall sick, you understand that there might be some reason for the cause of that sickness, and then why it should be. I feel that should not happen. To elaborate on that, so for example, when I was like almost 18 years of age, I suffered with tuberculosis, and I remember that when I went to the doctor said that, why have you been so sad and depressed and smoking? I said, I am a 18-year-old kid and I don't smoke. I don't do any alcohol. It's not any love crush, anything else. It's just that I had some, in India, we have that pressure of cracking the competitive exams, and that pressure, that stress, which took a toll on my health, caused tuberculosis. And the other thing was passive smoking. Some of the students, they used to smoke. What we say, my seniors. So that passive smoking caused me this. So I felt that why I have suffered this much. The depression because of excessive pressure of academics and the passive smoking. So I felt that I should always encourage people to leave smoking. Whenever I see somebody smoking, I always say, this might cause harm to people around you, and this might also cause harm to people you love. And when I see some students and they are not they are quite stressed out, I try to mentor them, I try to guide them that this is how you can get in crack the competitive exams, or crack the how to efficiently study properly. So I try to mentor many students. I voluntarily do that. So this is how I feel a small purpose is created in my life of elevating, I mean, decreasing the pain of others of in their life when I have experienced the same pain. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for sharing. Now, for some of us, we've competed in the table topics through the club area and even district. And one of the questions that I was actually asked, the whole group of us were, was, I dreamed. Please answer the question. Zenuddin, you have your hand raised? No. Okay. The question is, I've dreamed.
Okay. I dream. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, have a nice day for you. My dream, I dream that I think that I have been the Toastmaster since 2017. My dream is to become a public speaker in English, that I'm going to do public speaker. And this is important, that to attend every Toastmasters meeting. I belong to Malabar Toastmasters Club now at Calicut, India. But I'm interested to attend the Global Toastmasters Club meetings, like your Interpersonal Toastmasters Club. This is very important for me to get more caliber for speaking. Then, now I am 56 years old. I think that the age is just enough, but we have so many peaks to conquer. Then, firstly, we should have the plan to take a destination, to go to the destinations. Now, I have to go through the Toastmasters journey. This is the wonderful opportunity for me. Then, we don't know about our living, our death, but my personal slogan is, I have a slogan, don't be dead while alive. Do you know? Don't be dead while alive. If you are alive, you should not be dead. Dead means inactive. Our mind should be active and to go to the path to our destination. Destination may be success or other. Everybody should have the destination we can go to in the path. Thank you so much. Best wishes to achieve your success. Over to you.
Thank you. I love that idea. Always begin with the goal in mind. There was a book I read some years ago that was by that title. It's a very valuable lesson. Now, going back to table topics at the district level, there's another question that was asked that I'd like to share. And it was just 2 words, and you complete the sentence. If only. If only. Volunteers? You don't volunteer, I voluntold. We'd like, yes, Aguila? Yeah, we'd like to give everybody a chance first before we do repeats, but we'll do that. Aguila, would you like to answer that?
Yes, I said, can you just repeat it once again?
If only. If only.
Okay. If only during my school days, I was given a choice that you should think of any other profession apart from being an engineer, I would have framed my mind or opened my mind to other things in this world. So in India, I just heard one more story that my parents decided the day I was born, I have to become an engineer. And the pressure increased on them as days grew by when my mom's brothers, all three kids became an engineer. And my dad's sister's son became an engineer. So for various personal reasons, I didn't become an engineer, but I took up a commerce degree. But the commerce degree was only 3 years, but trust me, all 3 years, every single day, the day I step out of my home to the college, my mom was sitting here right now hearing this. My mom used to feel so bad and cry and cry and cry, thinking as if there is no career, there is no path in life. There's nothing possible on earth that could be there if a person doesn't become an engineer, can survive. So she was extremely worried, and she used to cry for, I think, almost every single day the moment she sees me taking my college bag and all of that. But the twist and surprise was I got placed in campus and I got a job the day I finished my degree. All three kids of my uncles who finished, kids who finished engineering were not able to find a job. My father's sisters' kids didn't get a job. I was the first person to find a job. I was the first person to travel US through the company. I was the first person to get relocated to Bangalore. I was the first person to take the entire family out for a trip to Bangalore. So there were many firsts at me. But then I think in every possibilities, if we think I want only this, there's always other opportunities. Let's not fix our mind to only this. I think we're just closing all the other doors, literally all other doors. I think that's a big mistake, and it's okay. My mom was not aware, so it's still okay. But even the younger generation, even me, sometimes knowingly, unknowingly, we actually close all the doors because we're so fine-tuned. I want only this, so adamant. And I see that in kids these days. So until or unless we change, I don't see the kids will have the opportunity to change it. Back to the table topic master.
Thank you for sharing that. I just want to tell you how fortunate you were that engineering was even an option. I grew up in a time when we were graduating from college, and they told us, women, they told us, you could be a teacher, a nurse, a secretary, or a mummy. Those were the only choices there. And it was really challenging because I actually went to school for math, and there were no engineering opportunities, none whatsoever for girls. I was only one of 2 girls in the math class at the time. I then found accounting and went on to do that, and they advised, you can't be an accountant, you're a woman. And I said, you watch me. And you're very fortunate that at least it was an option, and you were very courageous as well to go a different path and even be successful, more so than the others. So congratulations, Akila. That was very inspiring. I'm going to go to a slightly different path of questions to lighten the load just a little bit and to be a little bit silly, perhaps. If animals could talk, which animal would be the most annoying? If animals could talk, which animal would be the most annoying? Let your imaginations run wild. DTM Pejmakar?
So I'm going to look at birds also as part of the animal kingdom. And I believe that if the animal kingdom could talk, the most annoying would be the wise owl. I think life has to be treated not so seriously. We need to let our hair down at times and do seemingly stupid things so that we are able to relax and have a nice time. Build bonds through activities, actions that are truly vulnerable and could potentially be laughed at by people. And if there is a wise owl sitting up there in the branch, constantly noticing every single activity and action that we are performing and pass wise cracks at each of these actions, that would indeed be annoying. I would say that if there were such a situation, the best option for us would be to, as a group collectively, inform the owl that we will come to you for advice, like we go to my grandpa when we actually need your advice. The rest of the time, just look at us, smile, participate if you will, but let us have our life. That is what I would tell the wise owl. Thank you very much. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much for sharing. I always thought I wanted to be that wise owl, but I never thought of the wise cracks. That would be fun to have me making the little snarky remarks to everybody. All right, thank you very much for that scintillating answer. I loved that. That was wonderful. I'd like to now ask, who is your craziest or most interesting teacher? Your craziest or most interesting teacher? Okay, okay.
Susan, can I take?
Yes, please, go ahead. Okay, yes.
Thank you very much. Most lazy teacher when I was studying my 8th standard. So the teacher, when I went to join in the school, he was surprised to see myself. So because he only teacher for my father and to me. I know very well my father explained about his way of teaching. What will do, if anything do mistake, you will punish like anything. But within the 5 seconds, you'll make it a law. That is the beauty of that teacher. His name is Pali Chami. And even if you do any sound, a noise in our classes, you suddenly enter the classes. You ask questions like, can you tell the mathematical table from bottom to top? It is not a first table or second table. In the 16th table, you have to from top to bottom. It's from 16 to 1. It was very difficult. Even people will be sit and most of the people will stand. You will punish it. And within 5 seconds, you start the classes. Even one para used to take for 1 hour.
We seem to have RK frozen. Is it just me? Frozen? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to say thank you, RK. You are frozen. And we'll see if we can re-engage at that point. Thank you for sharing. I have one more question that I'd like to ask. And we only have 2 takers here, but the question will be, what mythical creature do you wish really existed? What mythical creature do you wish really actually existed? Richa, would you like to take that?
I think RK is back.
He's still connecting to audio. So would you like to take the question in the meantime, Richa?
Yes, please repeat the question.
What mythical creature do you wish actually exists? Which mythical creature do you wish actually existed?
Nature is wonderful. It is a gift of God. We should admire each and every creature. But there are few whom you would wish that they existed on earth. I'm sure each one of us must be wondering what features it should have and what features it should not have. Think about the why of your life. Think about the purpose of your life. What is it that you want? And make sure that that creature has those traits. It may be that it should be able to create magic for you. It may be that whenever you want to eat McDonald's pizza or a burger filled with cheese or a lava cake filled with lots of loaded chocolate, the moment you snap your fingers, it should be able to create it for you and you should get it on your platter at the same second. I'm sure your mouth is watering. It is not the end. There is something more that we all wish for, and that is the oxygen to fulfill our goals and wishes. What is that oxygen? Money, of course. Dollars or rupees, whatever you want. Make sure that that creature gets it for you, whether it is midnight or a very sunny, bright day. It is raining, it is a hailstorm. It should be able to get it for you whenever you want. How are you feeling now? If you are not able to create one, then why don't you pray to God every day? Why don't you tell your mentor? I'm sure your mentor will be able to help you, guide you to follow your path in the right direction so that you are able to create it yourself. So what are you waiting for? Because nothing is impossible. Even the word impossible says that I am possible. So keep wishing and keep dreaming big, because every dream will come true, because it's only you who will make it true one day. So back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do realize that I have Jim I didn't ask a question for, so I'm actually going to call on you so as not to leave you out. I believe in inclusivity. Everyone should have fun. So the question for you is more thought-provoking. How do you feel when someone answers your questions with another question? How do you feel when someone answers your question with another question? It's one of my faults. I know I have it, but I'm told that's what I do for clarifications. But how do you feel when that happens, Jim?
Well, my first reaction to that is, oh, wow, this is an aspiring lawyer. But other than that, I think of it as a way to sort of bide your time to think of an answer. I've done it myself. I know how annoying it can be, however, because I have been told and admonished, stop answering a question with another question. Just answer what I've asked you. Just get to the point. Give me a straight answer and so forth. If you don't have an answer for me, it's okay. Just say so. Don't try to make yourself look good by asking another question in answer to the question. I believe that that's good advice. But at the same time, it goes back to the theme of our evening tonight and the importance of questions. So as annoying as I may sometimes find a question and answer to a question, depending on what the question is, it really could have a major use, a major purpose. So I can't really be all that frustrated about it, because one thing about questions, they are the doors to information, to intimacy, to friendship, and you just never know what's on the other side of it. And that is all I think that my voice will allow me to say right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much. I think in terms of a person asking questions, may not always to be to avoid, but sometimes to further clarify. What do you mean by that? I mean, not to be fresh or disrespectful, but let me ask you what your intent is. And it's a way of dialoguing and interacting with one another where I could clarify in my head to make sure that I understand what your question was rather than me assuming I did and going off on a detour, which had nothing to do with your topic. And that's great. So thank you. Thank you for the inspiration, Richa. I am going to return control of the meeting to you. Thank you for everyone for participating in our thought-provoking questions about questions.
Thanks a lot, Table Topic Master. I always admire the kind of charm, energy, aura, and the way she, spreads it in the meeting and everybody gets on the floor. Thanks a lot for making the session very engaging, interactive, and interesting. Thanks a lot. Sometimes, unknowingly, we call a spade, especially a youth, and then they feel frustrated, depressed. They don't know where to go, whom to reach out. So my request to all of you is, please take a pause in your life to introspect, especially when you have hurted somebody by just a question. We don't even think twice before uttering a word. And believe me, words are very powerful. Words may hurt someone's feelings. Words can break your relationship and can also make your relationship. So be a little more mindful before you speak, before you utter a word, especially while asking questions. We don't have any right to ask a question or for somebody's personal life. We don't have any right to ask a question relating to religion, sex, caste, creed, politics. These are all confidential things. Even in Toastmasters, we never allow people. We don't encourage anyone to speak on these topics. So be a little more mindful, be a little more, do spend some more time and think twice before uttering a word. If somebody has asked a question for which you don't know the answer, please do admit it. Be honest, be authentic, and tell that person, I'm so sorry, I'm not aware of this particular topic, and I will definitely get back to you. Don't just speak lie, because sometimes your one answer can also destroy a person's future. So why are we doing this? Be a little more empathetic. We are all human beings. And your one question may give answer to many, many questions. Isn't it amazing? Sometimes a question asked by a person might give you another perspective of the same topic you were thinking about. Sometimes a question asked by a friend might give you another way or another alternative of solving a problem. Yes, my dear friends. So be a little more thoughtful and use it in the best possible way. I'm sure you enjoyed today's Toastmasters meeting. So now it's the time to move on to the most integral section of every Toastmasters meeting, that is our reports. So let me invite on the floor our evaluator who has evaluated Speakers 1 report. Please. Let us put our hands together to welcome Toastmaster RK.
Thank you, DTM Richa. Hi, everyone, especially Toastmaster Ajila. Can you please give a huge round of applause to her for her wonderful speech delivery? Yeah, actually, completing the speech to 3 minutes always is a challenge. And tell about what is the theme, what is the plan, what is the goal, and how it completes. It's very, very challenge, but you have completed very nicely and explained. And the end of the speech, what you try to tell it was really great. Yeah, let us come to the objective about the speech, the plan. So you explain about your plan and how you did, and also you given the title of this speech, team, and what you are going to do, and how the narrator and how you achieved this goal. You explain ways really nice. So this is the things I noted down, and also is the objective about the speech. Also you have completed and you have done successfully. So let me come to the what challenge you can do that. So your hand gesture was really good, but even though if you stand and deliver, that would add more value to your speech. And also, see, even the timing is 2 to 3 minutes. If you add some visuals instead of telling, instead of speaking, you can cover some of the information by visually, so that we can at least you can 30-second people, you can avoid the timing. You can by the visual you can show to the audience what you try to tell, what you explain. Okay, so that is a challenge I'm recommending to you. You can apply in your future speeches. And so improvement is the sense it was your time is for the time constraint, you might be running towards completing your speech. So a little bit slow on process, little process that will give more add value to you. Overall, a great speech, great attempt. Good luck to your future speeches. With that, you give control back to TTM. Richa, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster RK, for telling us the main pointers. I'm sure the speaker must have noted it down by now. Now, please remember, time and tide wait for none. So there was a lady who was monitoring us every bit of second that we were there on the floor. So let us welcome on the floor our timer for the day, Toastmaster Catherine. Please share the timing report.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Richa. Our first speaker, Agila, took 3 minutes and 23 seconds. During the table topics, we had several speakers, and myself, I timed myself when I was 2 minutes, 50 seconds. Shashida, 2 minutes, 42 seconds. Zainuddin, 2 minutes, 40 seconds. Agila, 2 minutes, 39 seconds. Padma Kumar, 1 minute, 39 seconds. RK Siva, 1 minute, 30 seconds, but had been interrupted by the network. Toastmaster Richa, 2 minutes. Toastmaster Jim Denson, 1 minute, 35 seconds. And our evaluator, RK Siva, has taken 2 minutes during his evaluation. That's my report for today. Back to you, Toastmaster Richa.
Thanks a lot, timer. Now it is time for us to know a little bit more, because grammar is the most important ingredient to be an impeccable speaker. So please put your hands together to welcome on the floor Toastmaster Jim to share the grammarian report.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And as far as the usages of the word of the day, scintillating, there were several. Richa used it. Susan used it. And let's see, I believe there might have been one other person who used it, but it was used more than once. So that is a very good sign. Thank you for using it very much. There were also very memorable words and turns of phrase. First of all, I'd like to compliment Agila because she introduced a word to me that I had never heard of. I never knew what a hackathon was until she said it in her speech. And now, and now, having had a chance to look it up, it really is something that is actually fascinating. So thank you for that, for introducing that new word, at least to me. Other turns of phrase in answer to a table topics question concerning why, the question why. And Catherine said, kids need a narrative. And that's why they ask so many questions. Another turn of phrase by Zahuddin, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Don't be dead, alive. Have a destination. in order for your path to be effective. Excellent, excellent thought there. And let's see, secondly, or next, in answer to the question about what mythical creature would you most wish had existed, Richa used the term oxygen to fulfill our goals and wishes. And those are just some of the words that stood out. In terms of filler words, I did not encounter that many in terms of the usual suspects, the ahs and the ums. There were some uses of the word so that well, there's no time for me to go over it now, but usages of the word so, I'm really looking into that a little bit more, because that seems to be a little bit, it doesn't seem to be as clear cut as it once was. Its usage has changed over time, and I'm kind of doing some of my own research on it. So yes, it does come out a lot, but I'm not so sure that it's as much of a verbal offense as people might think. So I'm not going to be Mr. Scold regarding that word, but overall, everyone did a great job tonight in terms of usage. The introduction of a new word, hackathon, was excellent. And just in general, the use of the word of the day was much appreciated. Thank you all for your participation tonight. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for sharing such a detailed report. I would appreciate if all of you start using a diary whenever there is a Toastmasters meeting. There is so much to learn, and especially whenever it comes to the evaluation segment. Because if we will keep jotting down, we will get to know where is it that we need to work more. And whenever you are there on the floor next time, please keep improving one step at a time. I am sure that you are going to have a lot of takeaways from today's meeting. So it's time for me to give the stage to our one and only president. So here we have DTM Suzanne, who became a Toastmaster in the year 1995, when some of you were not even born. So please put your hands together to welcome our president and distinguished Toastmaster Suzanne on the virtual stage.
Thank you, Richa. I think I explained it in the intro, was 1995, back in the last century. Yes, I'm starting to feel that antique myself at this point, so I do that. But I've really enjoyed my time here in Toastmasters. I would like to get some feedback from our guests, but before I do that, I'd like to stop the recording to give you the privacy of your responses. One moment, please.